welcome to another episode of Starseed Activations. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so incredibly much for coming tonight. So we just want to say hello and give a nice welcome to Mary and
Hi.
Stacy. Say hi, everyone.
Hi.
Hi.
Beautiful. So tonight we are ever so gently going to start our channeling with an Om. Now, an Om opens and expands our heart chakras, allowing us to feel unconditional love, joy, and bliss. So, as we facilitate this Om, I want each of you to think of an emotion or a thought that you love, dear ones. 4, allowing any thought to come into your mental awareness of an item, person, or location that you love shall allow for a type of energetic healing to transpire among your body form. Deep breath in. One more deep breath in. Thank you, Star People, for this beautiful channeled session tonight. Thank you for giving us the information that's in alignment for all of the people so that we help assist everybody on their ascension timelines. Thank you. Yes. Beautiful. Okay, so what do we start with, Mary?
Actually, I had a few questions about. There's a new post on Facebook about the ability activations to activate your abilities, and I had a question about them. If you start seeing sacred geometry when you're meditating, is that a sign that your gifts are becoming online?
Yes, that's 1,000% a sign. So there's another reason why I do sacred geometry artwork, and it's because there's particular frequencies that resonate from the artwork, which then automatically start to either heal the energetic grid structures or come into alignment with your higher self. The higher self knows what extrasensory abilities each individual is aligned to activate. The activation process takes place in the genome of the species, holding different frequency patterns, whether it be a sacred geometric snowflake caused by a single word being spoken over a drop of water. That snowflake shall then start a process of changing or modifying your energetic grid structures, dear ones. And this allows a particular type of resonance to fully wash through your body, allowing that resonance to then affect your genome, as well as any extra sensory abilities becoming activated. This is of high value for any thought or emotion, especially in combination, shall allow the primary individual access into a range or alignment of that combination. This then starts a process of casting an energetic cord or tubule. These energetic cords then magnetically align to either the source frequency net for further recalibrations or to any person, place, or location for a manifestation cord. This then shifts your energetic grid structures, dear ones, allowing you to shift your alignment and resonate onto the highest potential timeline for that manifestation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Starby. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
So that would mean that if you're seeing stars as well,
Mm-hmm.
because that's what's happening to me. I'm seeing stars. I'm not seeing sacred geometry, but my friend Caroline is.
Well, is it like the little ether, like flurry things? Like when you look up at the sky, there's these tiny little white, like snowflakes, but they're like crystal clear and very bright, like a white light, and they go really, really fast. So those are, that's the ether. That is a form of the ether. And actually, if you sit there and you go into a meditative state, you could tell them things like make a circle. And then you may see them start to make a circle. And that's when you know your consciousness is also controlling them. But yes, they're like ether snowflakes. That's what I call them. It's not very technical, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I do I see a lot of stars when I meditate at night. I usually save my meditations for when I go to bed because it's dark. And when
Right.
it's dark, that's when you can, that's when you see everything in the dark. You can't see it when it's light. When
Well, you
it's,
get the eye mask, right?
Yeah.
The
oh,
one that
yeah.
blacks everything.
Yeah, I need to get one. But whenever it's light outside, I see purple and I see white clouds with beans on it.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So
But
when I do the energy clearings on people during my sessions, what I do is I face away from the window, so I get it semi, light. And then when I close my eyes, you have to adjust yourself. And the reason I bring this up is because if I sat there for every single session and I forced myself to put goggles or glasses on, then I would be stuck in that limitation of I can't touch your energy field without these glasses so I could see. And in the beginning, that's exactly what I wanted to do because it was easier to see the colors and the, whatever it is that's in the energetics. You could see it easier with complete darkness. However, now that, it's been a couple of years of doing this with people, now I just close my eyes and I see it. And it comes and it's more bright, more vivid, and it really allows me to see regardless of what the light spectrum is outside. So sometimes if we use a tool, they turn into training wheels. And then all of a sudden we get stuck using them. So it's just something to be aware of.
Like I kind of will see stuff. It kind of looks like sort of like a kaleidoscope during the day, and at nighttime it's more like tree branchy. Like if I have my eyes open, for example.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'll see like shadows, kind of. When I have my eyes, I'm like, okay, I just saw something. Something's over there,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So Mary Jane,
Mary Jane, here she go.
will she get a call or
She
something?
always,
my
she's like,
camera froze, of course.
Oh, Mary
oh, her camera's
Jane.
off. TikTok,
Well,
you guys can't see on the YouTube. She's
well,
there.
JR
Just
was
went
wanting to
dead.
know. He was wanting to know what is that like drawing game, sacred geometry spirals. Can you give
Yes.
him a more like simpler version of what sacred geometry is?
Sure. So it is very similar to a snowflake pattern. Now, the flower of life image is, you guys can Google this. It is when you take a slice of DNA and you cut it directly in half, there's a flower of life. Now, they found that one image all over many, not all, but many of the ancient structures on this planet. So that tells us that the people who built the pyramids, they knew about sacred geometry. Sacred geometry, the reason why we would want to dive in and make ourselves aware of sacred geometry is very specific because it shows us that every single thing in our world is connected. So when we take the DNA, we cut it in half, we see the flower of life. The star people call it the flower of light. Now, that flower of light, we could take the genetic genome from any animal, any insect, and we can also see the flower of life in there. But it doesn't end there. We can take a blade of grass. There it is. It's there as well. It's in everything. It's in the rocks, the plants, the trees, every single thing in our waking world. It's there. That is geometry, which is an image. There's also a mathematical sequence underneath every single thing that we see. And this is the reason why the ancient people, they knew about numerology, they knew about the zodiac, and they knew all of this information. But there's a binary codex that's written in the under layers of every single thing in the simulation, and it proves, according to this mathematical sequence, that every single thing is quantum entangled. And what that means is when we send love and light, as above, so below. If I send love and light, that love and light, it reverberates outwards. And then all of a sudden, we start to see or notice reflections back towards us. This is the reason why many people say you get what you put in. Because if you are sending love and light to everything on the outside of you, you're going to start to see the mirror reflections of that love that you are putting out into the world. Now, this happens because every single thing is quantum entangled, which means two particles can exist totally across the universe, but what you do to one happens to another. This is also how we can identify that forms of communication within the mind. We are able to communicate across vast distances as well as universes. You just need the secondary individual's identification number, which the number is always going to be, how does that person feel? So your thoughts and emotions contain different codes, and those different codes are, in sense, a binary codex. And when we know how a person feels, then all of a sudden we are able to close our eyes. In the beginning, we have to close the eyes and get into that light meditation. But when we become more advanced, it's instantaneous. It's any thought that we have automatically sends an energetic cord or tubule to the secondary individual. This then starts a process of telekinesis as well as telepathy, for you are able to push or pull any thought form in your simulation with the power of your mind. You are able to energetically cast this thought form cord, and then allowing you to communicate with any individual or shifting the physical reality codings as you see fit. This then allows you to change or modify your simulation, dear ones, for instantaneous manifestation is already here for each of you to experience. You must be in alignment for this type of manifestation ability. However, it is already here on your planet. All that is needed is an alignment in order to open, activate, and unlock these abilities. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Star People. So, like the energy that you're putting out, whether it's good or bad, well, like good love vibrations going out, does that work also? Like, you hear people putting out bad stuff and you think, oh, that's going to be reflected back to you. Like if you're putting out bad, it's going to go back to you. That works the same way, whether it's love or bad or what we consider bad.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Same thing.
Absolutely. But now, and there's another aspect of this, because we are also witnessing. So whenever we turn on a TV or the cell phone, whatever it is, whatever we're witnessing is a reflection of a frequency inside of us. So the right place, the right time. Why am I seeing this? So whenever we see something that is too dark, or let's say we don't like what we see, any of those lower frequencies or emotions, we have an opportunity to forgive ourselves for the emotion code. Now, we put our hands over our heart and over our belly button, and we speak the words out loud. I forgive myself for the emotion code. There's litter on the lawn. And then we say the word release, because the word release releases any attachments that are on the energetics. But when we start to forgive ourselves for each emotion code, and we truly start to hold love for the self, we can start to identify, I am the lawn. I am the galaxy. I am. And the I am comes in place because we are quantum entangled to everything. So the second this is where the sacred geometry leads in, because the sacred geometry shows us everything is connected, everything is one. There is only one being here. There's only one consciousness. This is what is known as the collective consciousness. So as a collective, we here as starseeds are here to activate unity consciousness. Unity consciousness is when we are able to talk to each other inside of the mind without using any sort of technology. Right. And this is the reason, too, the star people have guided us over my, journey of speaking online. They always say, talk about the body, talk about the things you could do with the body. Don't talk about the technology. Don't give your power away to the technology. Come inwards. What can you do with just your body? Well, telepathy is one of the first things that each and every one of us starts to develop. Because how many times have you ever had a thought of a person and then that person shows up in your daily life, right? So it's already activated. Yeah. It's already here.
And I'm already experiencing unity consciousness with people where I'll be having a conversation with someone and then a day later, someone else will say the same thing. Like I said something to someone and a different person will say almost exact same sentences to me. or I'm sending a text message to someone and someone else send me the same text message within minutes of each other. So I'm
Yes.
like, what's, you know, this, so I'm already experiencing some unity consciousness that way also. Now, was the I think it's called a Fibonacci spiral?
Yes.
Is that what it's called?
Fibonacci spiral.
Yeah, is that sacred geometry also? Would you consider that?
Yes,
Okay.
it is. Your ear is a Fibonacci spiral.
Yeah.
So, and that is 1 + 1 is 2, 2 + 1 is 3, 3 + 2 is 5, and it goes on and upwards in that matter. So we have phi and we have the Fibonacci ratios. And one is the masculine energetic systems, one is the feminine energetic systems. Now, when we recognize these two different patterns, it enables us to see, okay, well, these are the two primary energies. That is the primary Kundalini channels that rise up the body. And the two primary channels is your electrical and magnetism. So it's like it's already encoded in a mathematical sequence here in the world. The more we study outside, the more we realize the inside is fully connected. Mm-hmm. It's beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, JR was wanting to know, like he makes, I don't know, some type of awards. I'm guessing it's like with metal. He's done it for most of his life. Like he's, you know, working with his hands. And he said, is that energy being sent out into the universe? And I would think it is, because it's something he's doing. Yes. He's doing work for his hands, with his hands, and sending it out.
Well, it's also, it's like, it's an activation. And so we do have a page in one of the books about artful activations, which is taking any form of art. Now, if you're making something with your hands, the thoughts, feelings, and emotions that you are utilizing during the moment of energetically casting or creating your artwork, dear ones, allows for that thought and emotion form to be imprinted down to the cellular levels of that item. This is of high value because the more focused concentration you can place on that item, whether it be an art form or a crystallized pendant, you are then able to either generate a light object or a dark object. Any thought form may be energetically transferred onto any item in the physical reality. And what this may then do, if you program a crystal with "today's the best day ever," the next individual who comes into contact with said crystal is going to feel the emotion of "today's the best day ever," and so on and so forth. This is also a form of light linguistics. Light linguistics is taking a frequency and energetically sending or casting it into a person, place, or thing. Many individuals watching are light linguistics channelers. You are able to generate a form of art or a form of verbal communication, which allows the star people to send different frequency codes to your body, mind, and spirit complex. This is of high value because any image sent to any individual with any type of frequency, that frequency code is of high value for your ascension. It shall then be allowed to take that frequency or that image and send that image into any form of art. You may even carve it into a rock or marker it onto a rock and then release it in Mother Nature, dear one. For Mother Nature will take that gift, that blessing from humanity with that frequency code, and she will start to fine-tune her energetic structures, allowing for that frequency to shift or modify the location code. Thank you.
Thank you, Star People.
Thank you, Star
People. So is that similar to like blessing your water and your food and putting that into your body? And if you're working with your hands and you're making a project, so like he's doing it for his work, for example, but if he's like mad about being at work and doesn't want to be there, he's kind of putting that energy into that object too, correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I mean, the beautiful part about it is that you can do this over an entire bowl of quartz crystals. So let's take, for an example, you go to Amazon or eBay and you buy a whole bowl of these, right? Let's say you get them in bulk, so you get them really cheap. you cleanse them. We usually use sage. If you want, salt water can also cleanse them. We cleanse all the crystals and now sit with them and meditate with them. The more you meditate with them, the more you energetically cast your thought form into them, or even taking a second crystal. Let's say we have a rock with the word gratitude on it. Taking that and placing it in the bowl also adds that frequency of gratitude into all of the crystals. So we're able to energetically cast any thought form. Now, the thought form could be something very simple, like you are healed, you are healthy, you are happy, right? Or just happiness. One single word can imprint the crystal. Now, when we take the crystal and we put it in our pocket, we may not be aware, but the crystal is resonating the emotion of happiness, which then if we took a journal and we wrote in a journal what we did throughout the entire day, we would notice, okay, on the day I held this crystal, I was happier. Even if it's 5%, you just proved it to yourself that this is real. The second that you prove to yourself it's real, now we start unlocking crystal abilities. So every single crystal point has multiple sides. Each side can be programmed with an intent. And so you could have one point that says, thank you for this particular crystal is locked and sealed, but because we could do that as well. But each and every side, you can program it. So thank you, Crystal, for storing all memory of any time and space where I was here doing the channelings. That one is locked into the crystal. This is of high value because now crystals hold memory. This is the reason that we use crystals in the laptops as a memory chip. So what happens is when the civilization as a whole starts to open and expand the extrasensory abilities, you are going to have individuals who could touch any item and they could pull the memory grids of the item. The star people can already do this. They have showed me personally images of every single time I went to Dunkin' Donuts. It was so many. And this is such a long time ago. But they pulled the memory grids and they showed it to me. And the way that it is perceived is an image and then another image, like a photo stream, but very, very rapid. So people are already able to do this on the planet where they're able to touch the item and pull the entire memory off of said item. Then what happens is now this entire crystal turns into a memory bank. So now if you're wearing a crystal around your neck and you have it programmed, thank you, Crystal, for storing all of the memory of all time and space I'm interacting with you. You can even program it because we're quantum entangled so that it still stores your memories in the now moment, even if you're not with the crystal. That's known as a talisman type of energy bond. It's very, I mean, the things that we can do it's out of this world. It's amazing.
It kind of reflects like Akashic Records type of thing too, right?
Yes.
It's similar to that as far as getting your memories from past too,
Yes.
right?
But we're also able to program very specific messages into the crystals,
Right.
and then give them to another person so that they can transcribe them. We already have the human-based technology here to pull memory off of the crystal, because we are already using quartz in things like wristwatches because it holds a piezoelectric charge. So it makes the wristwatch tick. And then we are already using the crystals in the laptops as a memory chip. So the technology is already here to pull the memory off of the crystal. Now we can start to program them using our mind. The crystal skulls, the star people are saying, were programmed in this nature. They were, a person sat in meditation and they took fragments or an entire whole aspect of their consciousness and they downloaded it into the crystal skulls. This is of high value to recognize because you do not, I repeat, you do not need to have the crystal skull in your possession in order to access the information contained within. There is one primary crystallized skull. This skull controls the rest of the skulls. It has not yet been located on your planet, dear ones, but each of you are able to make contact and communication with it. You may call upon Aztec energy, and that Aztec energy will allow access into the crystalline skull sheath. That is what we refer to him as. He is not only one consciousness, but he is a consciousness stream that is already ever present in the solar system. And what this means is the consciousness is still downloading into that chief crystallized skull. You each may make access. Oh, they gave me an access key. I just saw it. It was like it was an access key is what it was, the Star People was saying. Okay, so we can each, that's new. I feel like we gotta write it down.
I just wrote it down.
You wrote it down. Thank you, Mary.
Well, I wrote down that you.
Yeah, I
can
have so many questions.
Right. You know, it's a good talent when it's like, oh my God.
Thank you, Star
Go
People.
meditate. Yes, thank you. Okay. So we don't have to be around the skulls. We can access it. It was Aztec energy, and the primary skull's name is Chief, and it's not found. It's not. We don't know where it is yet.
What's the primary name?
He said just call it Chief.
Chief. Okay.
Chief.
That's so
Okay.
interesting.
I know.
So like this is just like two-sided. So it could be programmed on just two sides. Is that correct? Like it's flat.
No. The Star People are saying it will accept one program.
Just
You
one.
need the actual pointed ones. With
But if you have
sides.
a pointed one, then you can do multiple sides then.
Yes.
Okay.
For different form. Oh, it's because of the angular light reflection.
Okay.
Is what the Star People are saying. So
Okay.
we have what's known as a light refractal system. And what this means is we have a light that's coming down the top of the head. And just imagine inside each and every one of the chakras, there's little lenses that we can shift. And when we shift it, the light coming down, it works very similar to like a magnifying lens, where we're able to shift the light flow through the chakra. And this is how we can make it so we're flowing a lot of light out the front, which is like a love-based emotion, or a little less. And when we flow a little less, we tend to hunch forward. Now, this is important because the crystals, what the Star People showed me is every single facet, every side, it's reflecting the light and the flow of the light differently. So it's working the same way the internal circumstances works with the light refractal systems. So when we know this, it's no wonder that you can program one emotion code, the Star People saying, into one side and then have it reflect outwards, because that one side is shifting the flow of energy per the side. And then, wow.
Wow, that is so fascinating.
Write it down, Mary.
Activations book.
So the crystal skull, how many sides was it programmed with? Because it's different. It's a different kind of shape.
The Star People said it was like a collective consciousness, but it is not what we think it is. Whereas the other ones are, this is the information from our angle, boom, programmed into the crystal, but it's conscious and it's sentient in itself. What the chief skull is it is linked to a consciousness that is still up and running above time and space. And so they are still sending knowledge down to that skull, and they call it the chief, because whoever is the main person who is on that planet, it's not even a planet, he's saying it's a higher frequential being, like an entity, like a celestial. And they are sending down knowledge in the form of emotion codes, which is, it's activated in that crystal. So in order to really activate it, it would be like having a conversation with the celestial being. We are very humble when we speak of this gentleman named Chief. So we want to take it like a spiritual modality, the Star People are showing me, and we want to really be very humble and very grateful for his help and his assistance, and allow him to give us any knowledge that is in alignment for each of us. Because some knowledge, it may not be in alignment, too much, too soon type of thing. But the fact that they're willing to help and to give us downloads and to help our individual ascension is a blessing. So everyone here, if you so feel called to do, we just want to say thank you, Chief, for assisting us in our meditations and in giving us downloads of any information that you feel is in alignment for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, that's beautiful.
So like I've seen the little crystal balls that you can buy in the metaphysical shops, but I've never really been drawn to get one. So if you bought one, would that connect you closer to the chief crystal? Or do you need that to connect?
No, the star people saying you do not need it to connect. You do not even need to know what it looks like, because it is somewhere very safe. It's on the earth, but it's in a different frequency, so nobody can really find it unless they're in alignment to find it. But they are saying that it is a collective consciousness. Just use the name chief, and they're saying that each and every one of us can link in and allow downloads. Now, what they're showing me now is some of us who are going to do this, we may drop into the meditation and you may get 0, but that doesn't mean that you got 0. That means that chief decided to give you a download into your energetics, and then we wait for it to unpack. And what that looks like is it shifts your biological frequency as well as your resonant tone. That shift in your energetics then starts a process of unpacking the information. Unpacking the information can be facilitated anywhere from that now moment up until several weeks or months after, when your biological form and your level of awareness comes into a form of alignment. It shall then allow that information to unpack and unfold into your waking reality. This is of high value, for many downloads each of you watching receive are in the form of a packet of knowledge. That packet of knowledge may sit in your energetic grids for years until your level of awareness is ready to open, expand, and dive into it. Thank you. Thank you, star people. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, King of Wands. It is. We're multi-streaming.
Yeah. We're
yeah.
trying to listen.
We're multitasking today.
Yeah. Oh, that's
Hi,
awesome.
Anna.
Hi, everybody.
Yay.
Yeah, that was fascinating.
Oh yeah, I can't wait. I can't see, and like anybody, like if you guys activate it and you get information, please send a message in, right? This way we all can know what each and every one of us are downloading and seeing and sensing, and the thoughts, and what extrasensory abilities are we all activated, because there's a lot. There's a whole lot of extrasensory abilities that people are activating on the daily. So it's amazing.
So are we going to be able to see it in our lifetime? This chief, is somebody going to obtain it?
Yes and no. It will be obtained. You will not have access to it. That's okay too, right?
Yeah.
We at least will have virtual access.
Yeah. Remote
Yes.
access, right?
Remote access. That's
Yeah.
okay. The energy of it it's okay for them to, whoever's going to have their hands on it, it was in alignment for them. So it will be protected, and that's the most important thing. Right?
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Did you
and we send our love to Chief and to all of the crystal skulls, and we thank them and we bless them. And thank you, universe and the source frequency, for blessing all the crystal skulls and allowing them to do the job that they are here to do. Whatever activations or whatever knowledge, thank you, crystal skulls, for holding the knowledge for all of humanity. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah. Did you want to talk about the sun? Because there's a guy, Stefan. He said that there's a sunspot cluster facing Earth right now that we're going to get blasted with.
I mean, within the past 24 hours, I personally have felt like a shift was happening. So it was an attachment coming up. Wow. I just felt it like, the solar energetics, the way that this works is like this. When there's a coronal mass ejection or a tiny solar flare, then all of a sudden that solar flare, be it has an aspect of plasma to it, it affects the thoughts and the emotions of all of the people. The sun and the solar cycles are generating the spiritual movement that we are seeing on the planet right now. Each and every one of us here watching, at one point or another, we were triggered to start learning about spirituality. We got the call, right? And that call comes in and it's like, wow, we're learning about water and how sacred geometry. And then we're learning about this and the things in civilization that don't look pretty. And then here's all the solutions. That's part of the hero's quest and the spiritual journey. All of that is being guided by the solar flares. Now, this is of high value to recognize because when we start to see solar flares, any number of changes can already be here in the awareness of the people. You may notice a leveling up. You may notice extrasensory abilities turning on. You may start to have a thought of a person, place, or thing, and then see it in the real waking reality. It all just depends on what your personal alignment is for that particular solar energetic. The sun and the solar flares are also being affected by the planetary alignments, the star people are saying. For example, let's say I'm a Libra, just as an example. So let's say we saw a solar flash in Libra. Because of my alignment with that constellation, it could change the flow of the energy and change the way my body, mind, and spirit accepted that change of solar energetics. So it all depends on each person, each person's alignments, and the alignments of the external circumstances, which are what does the solar system look like right now as we are accepting these energies. All of these things go into combination. There is a divine alignment happening behind the scenes. So very, very much so, like the star people were telling us, there's a binary codex underneath every single thing in the simulation. That's a mathematical sequence behind everything. Well, the solar flashes are happening in alignment with a binary codex. And that means that there's no mistakes. We are getting the exact energies that we need at the exact moment to trigger us all differently. Because every single one of us, we radiate energy differently. There is similarities, but you guys, your lens system is totally different. This is why we each look different. And this is why we think differently. We may have more energy flowing through the throat. Maybe you talk a lot. You may have more energy flowing through the heart. Maybe you want to save the ocean. This is because we free flow our energetics differently. This is what makes us each unique. The solar cycles and that energy, all of it is triggering us all so that there's a part of unity consciousness that is activating in all of us differently at the same time. This is of high value to recognize because when we can recognize there is not one way to ascend. For each and every person, there is a different way. And that is because your light refractal system is flowing your energetics differently, which allows you to technically be in your own parallel reality perception. A different dimension is my worldview, my eyes, everything I see. I am in my own dimension or my own timeline bubble, which is what the star people have been calling this. Mary and Stacy, you guys have your own perception. We're all connected at the source as one entity or one being, one celestial, but we're all in our own independent dimensions. So depending on your alignments, the way your light system is refracting the light, as well as your shade veil systems for any belief patterns that you have, shall then also affect the solar energetic systems. Now, the way that the solar energies is impacting your current civilization right now, it is a process of releasing and receiving. So many individuals have noticed a process of releasing or triggers to any densities, any distortions in their current biological form or reality awareness. New solar energies are then being followed through. This is done to then shift the level of awareness that each person is holding to the physical reality. You may notice synchronicities. You may notice deja vus. You may notice what may be perceived as a timeline convergence, although it is not a timeline convergence. It is a very similar pattern of light in which your solar system is now emitting. And we are sending many, many love and blessings, dear ones. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Star
Thank you, star
Family.
people. Thank you.
Awesome.
I've been having a lot of dreams lately of people that have passed on. They're coming to visit me. More than
That's
one.
that's because the shade veil is getting a little thin. That
They ring my
happens.
doorbell. Ding dong.
Oh, they did?
And I answered the door.
Was
Yeah.
anybody there?
Yeah. So my friend's mom.
Wow. That's amazing. There's different we used to like what you can do is for anybody who did pass away, you could make a doll version. This is Pikachu. But you can make a little version of the person who is not with us, right? And leave it by your door so that as you're going out the door, you send them love and blessings every single time. It actually will work for Pikachu too, because he's a thought form and we are able to manifest thought forms. And then when you start doing the research on it too, the star people are saying all the Pokemon, they're based on real animals. So when you are sending love and light to one of these fictional animals, it's actually hitting the collective consciousness grid of that animal that is representing that thought form. The reason that we would want to do this is not only to make contact and communication, but when each of you are focused on activating the magical creature kingdom, any thought form that you will into your simulation will then start a process of manifesting for all of the collective consciousness. Once again, an individual must be in alignment to receive. So while many of you watching will activate the magical creature kingdom, there are people on your planet who will not be in alignment to observe. This may seem as if you are witnessing fairies, for an example. However, your neighbor may not see the fairy. And this is because there is a misalignment in the energetic grid structures. That misalignment is not really a misalignment. It is just that person is not in alignment to see into your dimension. Each of you is going through the process of raising your levels of awareness. This allows each of you to craft or cultivate the simulation experience that you wish to see manifest in your waking world. It is of high value, dear ones, to focus on affirmations of world peace, of prosperity for all of humanity, and for activation of extrasensory abilities for all beings in alignment to receive. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Star People.
Thank you. You said that Pikachu, they said Pikachu is real. It's a real being. And I know it is because I've seen them.
You have? So
Yes.
cool.
Up there in the clouds.
In the wilds. Yeah.
That's okay. In 2019, I flip around a bow staff, right? And in 2019, I was going through my healing, so I was doing it very often back then. Not so much these days. But what I did was I tried to manifest a heart in the clouds. Now, of course, I was out there for a while, right, with my bow staff trying to make it, and it didn't happen. And I was like, okay, it didn't happen. We have to be at peace with it. Go inside the house. And the next morning, I woke up, I go outside. Right in front of me is a heart-shaped cloud. And I mean, it was perfect. It was perfect. And so sometimes our manifestations, because we are working within the confines of time and space, they may take a little bit of time to come. It depends on our belief systems that we have running. And that is what controls time and space. When we drop into the heart chakra, we're able to start to see and perceive the flicker rate. The flicker rate may be perceived as a photo with a picture behind a picture. And the simulation then flickers according to this rate. Now, it is controlled by the heart for each of you when you are experiencing unconditional love. The flicker rate is going to go very rapid. However, during sad moments, you may notice time dragging. This is because the flicker rate is going very slow. There are individual flicker rates which each person watching can access. There is also a civilization flicker rate that is in the civilization grid, as well as one in the location ring. All three rings, dear ones, must be properly aligned to allow for unconditional love to radiate outward. resonance. And when that happens, the higher self, usually, not always, but the higher self will take its seat in your heart. The second the higher self energetically bonds in the seat of the heart, it then allows for you to shift to the highest potential timeline expression. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
guess that's why they say time flies when you're having fun, right?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Now, were they saying there was 3 type of rings, like
Yes.
rings? Is that what they're saying?
So we have the center ring is your biological form. The
Okay.
next ring outwards is your location ring. So all of the information that makes up your location, any place you've ever been to in your life, anywhere you've ever seen on a television, all people, places, and things, all physical matter that you know and you are aware of. All of that information is stored in your location ring. The third ring is a civilization ring. However, it is also a planetary ring. So it's all information in the civilization that you are not aware of, but it's still there. That information, it's all the binary codex. It's all binary codex, and all this information is stored in the aura field. When we reach the third ring, the civilization ring, you'll see the star field. And the star field is the meridians and ley lines. They have a little cross. In the center of that cross is a little vortex energetic. Those vortexes connect into the cells of the body. The cell of the body makes a little vortex. This is how we portal. Portal technology using the body is real. It's done by activating the cells and utilizing the star field to pull the plasma in. You pull the plasma in through the star field, it touches into the cells, and it is like the body is a map. This is what the star people are saying right now. Your body is a map of the cosmos. So if you wanted to teleport somewhere, you would just have to know what place on the body is related to that location code. And you could do this with the childlike mind. You just close your eyes, you imagine, you visualize it. The body, the energy, it knows what to do. Your energetics are going to be like, oh, she wants to go here. It's this cell. And we're going to pull the plasma in through the star field. We're going to activate this cell. And all of a sudden, your resonance shifts. You open your eyes and you're in the secondary location. This is the way it works. It's bending time and space and allowing your physical matter to shift in the slipstream, which allows you to teleport. It's real. It's real. We do it in the car. We just don't realize that we're doing it. So if you've ever if you've ever raced the race the GPS, right? I'm gonna beat the GPS, even if it's 5 minutes. It's because you're teleporting. We had an experience in 2019 in which we knocked 40 minutes off the trip. I've done this on airplanes too. It was a group of us. We dropped into meditation and we sliced time off the trip. That's supposed to be impossible. But if you're dropping into meditation and you're visualizing the location you want to go to and you're holding that unconditional love, then this process is happening naturally. You're just unaware of it. Now I'm telling you about it. So now your awareness is like, okay, now I can be specific and I can tell the plasma come in. But this is the reason why the star people have guided us to do the shadow work, right? To go inside, to heal all of the traumas, all that emotional stuff that we've been through since childhood, to go inside and forgive ourselves for it. Because when we forgive ourselves for it, it cleans the star field. A clean star field is going to allow us to pull this plasma in and instantaneously manifest things. It's genius.
Now I've witnessed or experienced teleporting, like what you're saying, like cutting a trip in half, where normally you go on that trip multiple times. You know how long it's supposed to take you, and you cut the trip in half. So I've experienced that multiple times. So I definitely know teleporting is happening. But that's interesting that you know the place you're going to and you're getting into. It's like a higher state of vibration, I guess, that you're like happy and that you get there quicker, it seems. And like when you're talking about the location on your body, it kind of reminded me of the constellation chart and how they have the human body laid out around the constellation chart. You ever seen that?
I've never seen that, but that makes sense. There's also
it's kind of like a guy that's like hugging the constellation, and like each constellation like Virgo might be the womb area, and then Aries might be the head. I don't remember
Yeah,
where
well,
each
it's
of
a
the body
map.
was, but it's wrapped around the constellation wheel.
It's a
Yeah.
map of the entire simulation, and it's built into every single cell in our body. That's what that is. And if
So
we wanted to know, to start people saying, if you want to know other planets, it is in your civilization ring. You would just drop into meditation and ask humbly for your higher self to show you one of the planets that you're unaware of. The higher self, and it looks like this, flop, flop. That's how it'll look. Many times in the beginning, when we start to practice these things, you may see the image, and then your like heart jumps into your throat, and it's like, and it's gone. But you saw it for a second, and it feels like you'll feel the image come through, and you will see it like your eyes are open. So there's no mistaking. We can close our eyes, we can imagine. And that process of imagining and that visualization, it allows us to be the creator of new worlds. That's a little bit different than closing your eyes and allowing it to, and you see it in real life. And the second you see it, you know it's real. And there's a lot that goes on in the astral realms that, there's people who can astral project, they can see a lot of the stuff. There's books on it. So, like, whatever we see in the real waking world, there's another world in the astral and a dream time realm. And many times when we go to sleep at night, we are programming our dreams so that when we wake up in the AM, we live whatever we programmed in the dream. That's known as a dream walker ability. So there's so many different extrasensory abilities that are already activated right now on the planet. The only thing that we have to do is be aware and go within, because when you go inside, this is where we start to activate. We can activate all of these things right now, and we're seeing them like they're here. So cool.
Yep.
That's so interesting.
Mm-hmm. We had somebody say he can astral project while he's awake. Yes, there is a process of splitting the consciousness, which is also what my starman and I are facilitating in time. It is a type of energetic bonding where we're able to summon up a perception box. So if you're watching YouTube, you can see how all three of us have boxes. These are windows. A perception box is in my level of awareness, what I am seeing out my physical eyes, we're able to call up a perception box. And that perception box, it works the same as FaceTime. So it can either show me his face in real time, or I could see out of his eyes. Now, once again, I have not established this link to see out of his eyes yet, but he sees out of mine, and he could tell all my thoughts, feelings, emotions. He sees, he senses all of it in real time. So this is a perception box. This is how we activate it. When you're astral projecting while you're awake, it is because you have a perception box ability. So you are able to then call forward a secondary box, and you're able to go to anywhere and see. You can, if there was a million things that just came into my mind. You're able to do amazing things with that ability. You can go anywhere, you could see, you can get real-time information, and you could use that real-time information in order to help you. So for example, if you needed to know directions, you could astral project as you are walking somewhere, and then you get the directions, and it's instantaneously. And that leads into different types of fractalized consciousness activations. So it's very unique. That's a gift. So good.
I've been watching a few episodes of Charmed, and they were talking about astral projection.
See?
That's why I'm watching it, because of the abilities and stuff that they do.
A lot of that stuff is based on reality. So Stacy just showed us the zodiac chart. Everyone on YouTube and Facebook, you guys can see, right?
So
How
yeah,
the solar
the head
system.
had Aries. I was right, and Virgo was kind of like the womb area. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because everything in the simulation is connected to us. It's one being. So it works like a fractal, like that Fibonacci spiral comes out. When we look at a tiny cell from our human body, we can see the entire simulation, because as above, so below. We take a look, and all of the information for the entire world, for the entire solar system, the entire universe, it's all encoded into a single cell. So it's just very similar to a single drop of water, right? That single drop of water can tell you what the entire being is. If we take a drop of DNA, do you know how much knowledge that they've been able to store on a drop of DNA? It was like something ridiculous. Like, take all of the information of the World Wide Web and times it by like 20 or 30. So that's so much information. Imagine every single book that's ever been written. It's all online. Imagine every single thought that's ever free flowed online, all the emails, all the things. It's like, and it's just amazing. And on a single drop of DNA stores that much memory. So inside of our bodies, through the process of meditating, we are able to go into the blood and pull the memory grids from the blood. This is the Akashic records, so that we are able to see all time, all space of this entire planet, as well as our past lives, our emotional trauma imprints from past lives, and our future lives is also encoded in it, because time and space is only an illusion. It is all happening right now in this moment. And the way to access it is to go within. We have to close our eyes and go inside and feel it. Some people, they may not be guided to close their eyes and go inside. Some people right now are being trained physically focused abilities. And that's okay too, the star people are saying, because when we focus on the physical reality, when we see people who are doing telekinesis, teleportation, they are not closing their eyes and meditating. They are in a waking or walking meditation where they are engaging in the physical reality and activating abilities in the real world time. So it's a little different. But when we do drop into the meditation, we are able to pull information from it. Okay, right here, 30 trillion gigabytes of information per human DNA cell.
Wow.
Thank you. See? That's amazing. That's so much. Like, oh my goodness, that's a lot. And that's only in the biological form, right? Just because we have a quantum codex, which is our multi-dimensional book of Akashic records. It's a next level up. So we sit here, and many humans, we dive into the Akashic records, which is this timeline that we're on, and all of our past lives and all of the future lives. All of that information, bam, is here in the Akashic records. The multi-dimensional player character, that is me, which is your higher self, your higher soul form. That person has a book, and it's every single potential version of you in every single dimension. All of that knowledge is up in your quantum codex. And that quantum codex is like, well, if you needed information about how to like fix a car, then you could close your eyes, drop in, access your quantum codex, and this is where the instantaneous downloads come in. It's coming from the quantum codex. But you will only be allowed knowledge and information if it is in alignment for you. And which makes sense, right? It has to be in alignment with your higher self. Otherwise, it's going to be locked. And there are guides up there to lock specific types of information. So, and that's for, you know, our best interest. That's okay. Thank you, guides, for protecting us.
I've tried to do the, to look in my book, but I haven't been able to be successful yet. The Akashic.
Release. Don't affirm that when people are watching. It turns into a master manifest, right? Your words, and then like how many people are listening, and then it's like, oh, she hasn't, and then it turns into a group manifestation. So always, you know, choose your words very wisely. And what the star people have guided me to do, and like the people in my real waking world who are close to me, they all know if it's something that I'm trying to heal, we don't want to lie, because lying is a lower frequency. So I'm choosing not to lie. But I'm not going to affirm when I have a runny nose, right? Because then it's adding that energy into your runny nose. So what we started doing instead was, oh, I feel amazing. Right? And we so that the people around us know, oh, that's a manifestation. So whatever she's tuning into, I'm going to see her as feeling amazing, so that it adds that positive energy in, and she's able to manifest it, right? Now, there's exceptions to the rule, because if you have to seek medical advice, then you would have to tell people that something is happening. Of course, still within a physical limitation. But when it's everyday communication, we speak as if it is already done. I am healthy. Thank you, universe. I am healthy. Thank you, universe. I am happy. Right? And when we speak these things, it encodes your energetic field and it starts the process of manifesting it for you. Especially when we have a group of people coming together to do these things.
Mm-hmm.
This is how we manifest world peace. Right?
Right,
It's coming together in the groups and seeing it. What does world peace look like for each of us? What does it look like in your dimension? And then just thank the source frequency for giving it to all of us. It's beautiful.
It's beautiful. Yeah.
Yep. And
Yes.
look in the mirror and say, I love you 30
Mhm.
times. a
High
day.
five yourself, right? No matter what you look like, love yourself. High five yourself. I just did that today, actually. It's like, you're amazing. You have to, right?
I've been saying, I love you. I love you. As soon as I get up, as soon as I open my eyes, I love you. I have a mirror right by my bed, on my bed, actually.
Yes. And that's beautiful, because that's affirming. Now, what happens with affirmations is these affirmations, these words that we are speaking, it programs your energy field. And I have been trained in the imprint process. So we can hold a very high emotion of unconditional love, and we can speak directly to the body, and it imprints inside the cells of the body. However, every single word spoken imprints a space outside of the body. And the space outside of the body is not as strong of an imprint as inside of the body, but you will still notice reflections. So any negative words spoken, whether it be around you or you're speaking it, it's imprinting the energetic grids, and it is starting that process of manifestation for it. And I mean, if you use the word love, you're going to turn around, you're going to see more love in your world, right? So all of those low frequency words that we used to call each other and tease each other, all that stuff's out of here, because the more you do it, the more you're going to see that energy in your real waking world.
Mm-hmm.
You can do it, TikTok. It's like 1 hour you have to do the puzzle piece.
Is that kind of how we were
pieces.
doing the crystals and putting the kind of like affirmations on the crystals in a way,
Yeah.
and is it sort of like we're your crystalline ourselves, and so we're reflecting that out by saying that, because our bodies have crystal.
Oh, absolutely. And that's the salt in the body. The salt is a crystal. Are you worth your weight in salt? So what happens with salt? When you have salt water, that salt water penetrates into the cell of the body, and it allows an electrical voltage to go inside the cell of the body. This includes the pineal gland. So your body, it has to have minerals. It has to have this salt to take your electrical systems, your chi energetic systems, and to push it into all the cells in the body. If you don't have enough salt, then all of a sudden you're not going to be able to hold a high enough voltage. The voltage is key, because there's different types of energy castings that we do with voltage. So Reiki energy is a form of casting electrical energy, and we could feel it when we put our hands like this. You could feel that heat. That's your chi energetic systems. Some people can generate lightning. Some people can touch you. I've now that I'm thinking about it, I've had an experience where I was going to fall. I was going down, right? And I put my hand on a gentleman. We were all sitting around in a circle about to start a meditation or whatever. I put my hand on him, and he received an electrical shock. And he jumped like someone had zapped him with something. And he didn't know what had happened. I knew what had happened. I triggered a very high emotion. It was fear. I was going down, right? Release. And then all of a sudden, the chi energetic system zapped him. Each and every one of us can do this. Now, we want the electrical to build up in the body in order to do that. But the second that we go and we ground to the earth, it rebalances the chi energetic systems. So it's kind of like a little game where, like, you want to build up the chi energy and then cast it outwards. And then the second you earth ground, it recharges and resets everything.
Mm-hmm.
So it just depends on the type of castings that we're doing. Yeah, it's beautiful.
So fascinating.
Well,
Yes.
it's been an hour, so
Yes. Girls are ready. Thank you, everybody, for coming tonight. Also, we have TikTok says electrical energy from our bodies. Yep, reflections of energy we release upon a deep level of casting. Absolutely. And all casting, I do recommend doing it from love, because love makes us feel good and we're all family. Every single human being on this planet, we are all family. And, you know, we see each other, each person is a reflection of a frequency within the self. So when we look at every single person in that light of, I forgive myself for the emotion code, whatever the emotion code is, release. Then I look at the person, it's like any density and distortions or darkness on them, it starts to release off of them because we're reflecting off of one another. So that's another way that we can heal one another and step into the golden age together.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yep.
I like this one comment too. They said, remember how you are absolutely a beautiful soul. Remember there are 365 days a year, meaning 365 days or 365 reasons to know you are worthy.
That's beautiful. Thank you for that beautiful comment.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Okay. Girls, do you have anything else you'd like to share?
No, thank you for that. Awesome. That was awesome talk. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, everyone, for coming tonight. It was always a blessing. And thank you, Star People, for this beautiful channeled session tonight. Thank you so much for bringing forward the information that was in alignment for all of the people here. And many love and blessings for each and every one of you guys. Thank you, and you have a wonderful night. There is no shadow work Zoom because we're a little late tonight. Okay, just throwing that out there. Okay, thank you.
thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.